So it's a pretty rainy morning. We left Paducah at about 7 a.m. and it wasn't really pouring when we left. We knew it was going to, and it did, and then we kind of lost quite a bit of visibility. There was another pleasure craft ahead of us, and I radioed them because for some reason we couldn't see what one of the tows was. We could see the name, we couldn't get the details on it, so they could.
We're Chris and Sandra. We started America's Great Loop in July of 2023, but it all started in 2022 when we bought a boat we named Thataway. On a foggy May morning last year, we said goodbye to Port Dover and headed down Lake Erie through the Welland Canal and onto Lake Ontario. We had a summer of fun boat projects and explored Lake Ontario and the famous Canadian Heritage Canal System, the Trent Severn Waterway. We spent the spring of 2023 overhauling the galley of Thataway, and we took off in July, even though we had lots more to do. Join two not-so-young kids as we make our way around the 6,000-mile loop of North American waters. Thank you. There it is. There's the arch. We'll get a closer look in a few minutes. That's a squeaky train. So the library, which we're going to go to because we need to use the bathroom. We're big fans of public libraries. Almost everywhere we go, we check in there. Free Wi-Fi and lots of resources about what's going on in the city. The St. Louis Public Library did not disappoint. It was gorgeous. When we were there, it had a really interesting exhibit on about the cost of prom, complete with dresses and tuxes from every era. This one here is from the 90s. So many stately buildings.
So this might be the more, we're here. All the parks are there. Anyway,
Well, let's go get our coffee.
Yeah,
and then we'll head down the parks.
I mean, there are people in there.
I think people are living in there. Looks like it's closed down because of a fire.
Looks like they had a fire.
This is the old courthouse in St. Louis, directly opposite the Gateway Arch. And the iconic Gateway Arch. We wanted to come down to this area to find a place to film our month 3 of Looping Costs, which has already been released, but also to decide if we wanted to go up in the arch or just take part in the museum experience down below. In the end, we decided not to go up, but to go down, and took part in the museum experience below the Gateway Arch, which was surprisingly free and very well laid out. It essentially gave a history of the waterways and inland rivers in the area, as well as some of the early life by the settlers. Although we aren't big beer drinkers, we paid our $30 and did a tour of Anheuser Busch. The family and the company are such an integral part of St. Louis that it was amazing to go through all the buildings and see the factory and to see how things have changed over the years.
These are all mash sinks cooking away. We need a lot of these. The amount of time we mash can be really variable. Now, in these things are going that is really costly. Is line 38. Line 38 does every weird size, everything that's not a 12-ounce bottle. So they do little 7-ounce bottles, big 32-ounce bottles.
We're at Chain of Rocks Lock, and initially they said that they were open for us and we could just sail right in, but there's a tow with barges that takes priority, so they've got a downbound and someone who just came upbound, so they're just crossing up ahead, and we're trying to stay well back until the northbound one passes, and then the southbound one is going into one chamber, and then they're going to load us into the other chamber. So this still could be a little while, although things are actually moving. We've picked up about 3 miles an hour here on the Mississippi now that we're out onto the main river from the canal. So our arrival time just keeps dropping. So we'll get to Hoppy's just before 2. So something happened with the outlets. They're not even tripping, they're just not working. So we're gonna wait until we get to anchor so Chris can take a look at it. But meanwhile, I'm just looking for another outlet. Doesn't reach. Gotta make my coffee. Oh, sorry. So I thought it was the coffee machine, but now it's working in this outlet, so I think it's whatever happened is fine. Phew! We do have a manual espresso machine, which we could have used. But this is so much more civilized. So you can see just how low the Mississippi is. If you look way back there, there's some sort of building on stilts. And all of this, that looks like a very sandy beach, is supposed to be covered with water. The person at Hoppy's last night that was giving the briefing said that going into winter they really need another 10 feet. And that's going into winter, which is typically a low time of the year. So it's a very big deal, this low water in these rivers. Our day was super long, so when we got to Little Diversion Channel, there were 6 boats already there rafted in 3s, and all of them offered to let us raft with them. That's us there on the left. It was our first time rafting. It was an amazing experience. You get to be a little more social when you're up close and personal. Okay, so you're disconnected at the stern as well, Chris.
Yeah, you're gonna push us away?
Yeah, Brenda and I are pushing you away.
Okay.
Little push. That's good. That's good. And I'll just stand along the deck here, Chris, just to make sure.
Yeah, you bet.
See you at the next one.
Looks okay.
Yeah, they're pretty muddy. All my nice new fender covers. Yeah, you're clear here, Chris, at the back, so you can go into the center if you...
Yeah. Their anchor up behind us?
Yeah, the stern anchor's up, and same with R&R. Their anchor's just about up, not quite. But if you spin to your...
Yeah, working on it. I'm waiting to clear here.
Yeah, you're clear at the front.
Yeah. Just gonna let us drift backwards for a few minutes.
Their anchor's still not quite up, so...
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know what you're seeing under you, but I'm just going to go on this side. So there's definitely nothing on AIS. Oh, his anchor's up. He's probably just going to spin and go.
Yeah, I'm just gonna sit here.
Yeah. You're clear at the back.
Keep an eye on the boat behind us, please.
Yeah, you've got about 20 or 30 feet. Well, he's expecting you to go to his...
Does he want us to go?
Yeah. Do you want us to go?
You want me to go?
Yeah, you go first.
Okay.
All right.
Just watch my swing.
Okay, watch his swing. Don't go forward, Chris.
Sandra, I'm trying not to back up.
Yeah, I think you're good. You're good to back up about 30.
On
You're-
my heart?
Okay, you're fine. You've got 30 to 40 feet behind you, so
Okay. Are my running lights on?
I turned them on. I checked one side. Let's check to see if... I don't think you need them anymore.
Yeah, they're on. So when you get out to the mouth, I'll take a quick look, but obviously if he beetles out there, we're probably fine.
Yeah, on AIF, there's
Nothing.
those parks,
Okay.
one boat park where we're going.
Yeah, that was same one that we saw coming down. Yeah, look at the current hit him.
You got fish stuff?
Yeah, they were jumping last night.
Look at them all.
I know. Wow. So, big sweep up.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Wow, that's amazing. Look at the... I wonder if they're jumping behind us. Oh, I gotta pull fenders up. Dredging. It's the Kimswick, which is the community where Hoppies is. Huh. So the Ohio River is a bit feisty. We're trying to get up to the lock to lock through and anchor on the downside. We've got a bunch of boats waiting for us, so we're trying to go as fast as we can, feeling a bit of the pressure. Never looks as bad as it actually is, but there we go. So that was 4 days without a shower, so I was starting to feel pretty grimy. Chris, with his short hair, has been just dunking his head in the sink every day and shaving. I had a little wash down as well. We have 2 more days in Paducah, and then no showers there. And then Green Turtle Bay on Sunday. It's Friday today. So I feel pretty good, cleaner. I have wavy hair. With a little bit of work, I can make it really curly, or little work, I can make it really straight, but I'm not really fussy, so I'm going to let it air dry, and it'll probably just kind of be scraggly, but I'll end up putting it up anyway. It's a shorter day today. We've had 2 pretty long days in a row and pretty stressful days. Coming down to Little Diversion Channel was a long haul, 109 miles, but it was very beautiful there. We met some nice people. And then yesterday, coming up to Olmsted Lock was 67 miles, but when we hit the Ohio, we were going against the current, so it got a little sporty in there as well. Lots of waves, lots of wind, and then current increased at one point to 2.5 knots. So Chris was pouring it on because we'd heard that the lock would wait for us if we wanted to go through last night, and the rest of the group that we had kind of been traveling with, not really, but said that if we wanted to go through, just get there as fast as we could and they'd wait. So they did wait, and then we waited. So at about 20 to 5, they locked everyone who wanted to go through. At that point, we felt that because of the 9 boats that we were with, and the fact that it would take about a half an hour to get through the lock, it would be 10 after 5, and that it was an hour to the closest, for us it would be an hour and 15 minutes to the closest anchorage, that we would get there last, and it would be dark and possibly full. So we just kind of chilled and dropped anchor at the dam. And we were joined last night by another boat, not a looper boat, and he also anchored. I think he's a delivery captain, because he seemed to know what he was doing. Anyway, so this morning at 6:30, Chris called the lockmaster, and they said, yep, they had 1 upbound, 1 downbound barges, and then they would put us in, and they told us an hour and a half. We relayed that to the delivery captain. He said, oh, it'll be 3.5 hours. It was about 2.5 hours, and we were out at the top. So split the difference. This was a very busy lock yesterday. They had 15 barges waiting when we got there. They managed to squeeze those other boats up, but all through the night they were sending barges down. It was a pretty good anchorage. It was pretty calm, which was nice. But the barges going down, it was just a little bit like this, which was perfect. And I was up very early. Couldn't get back to sleep, but not because of wave action or anything like that. Just everything was going on and a lot of other stuff. Our first full day on the Ohio, and it's very different from the Mississippi. It's probably not quite as wide, but pretty close. It's much bluer, the water, not as murky, not as much debris, Not as much debris. It's just the day that it is, but it's not as windy or choppy. And not as busy. Like, have you seen any tows since we left? I've been head down on my computer, which is why I'm filming now. So not as much tow traffic, although everything went through last night, it appeared. It sounded like. And they've got a visitor. There's another one behind us. So they must have sent some more pleasure craft through the lock after us. Lucky them, they didn't have to wait long. I've been keeping the fenders on deck because we've been going through a lot of locks. I'll probably, and we're going to dock the boat. We're not sure which side yet today, so I'll probably leave them there. They're a hassle to put away and put back, but if we get to a passage where we're anchoring a lot more and there are no locks, then I'll bring them in, store them. So that's air-dried hair. So my hair is very well suited to almost any activity. Don't need electricity to dry my hair.
It's fishing. It's not
He's
gonna
like,
work.
what's going on? What's that lady waving at me for? I guess I'll just follow them. But you're not going to be long, right?
Yeah, we've got a course, right?
It's definitely not as bouncy as it was yesterday.
No, it's nothing like yesterday.
No, it's pretty easy.
Sorry, I lost an engine.
That's fine.
Watch the quarter, please.
Yeah, you're fine on the quarter.
Watch the boat, please.
Yeah, I'm watching the boat. This is going to be tight.
Oh, you gotta be kidding me.
Someone's coming.
Yeah.
So you just have to parallel park, I guess, forward. I'm going to throw this one to somebody. I can throw that to you. Midship.
Somebody get it?
Sorry? Oh yeah, I'll get it. I'm not sure it's going to be long enough.
Take that bounce.
Are you pinned at the...
Put it right here. And let it put it in gear. And then it can swing it back. Follow what I'm saying?
Hang on.
Hang on. Is that pinned? Yeah. Okay, so it's pinned at the bow. So
Is it pinned at the bow?
It is.
Okay, I'm gonna put it in reverse.
Okay, he's going to reverse it and turn your wheel, right?
Yeah, it is turned.
Okay, it's coming in. All right. Okay, I think you're pinned now by all these lovely people. All right, thank you guys. Thanks very much. That one's done. That one's mostly done. We'll set the line. Thank you.
You're welcome. You made it.
Yes, finally. God, that was a really long 3 days.
I know it was. Good to see you guys.
You too. Haven't seen you in a while. Last time I saw Mark, you weren't around. On our first night in Paducah, we went out for a very simple dinner, and Chris craved something sweet for dessert. How's the ice cream?
It's good. It's a sorbet. I'm gonna see what the water looks like.
Paducah is a walled city for the flooding, and they've done a really great job with all these murals around the interior of the wall. So many of them with stories and plaques that accompany them. No power right now. The city had to turn it off for planned maintenance. We found a coffee shop open early on Saturday. A little bit of a walk away, but we welcomed the exercise. 505 coffee shop. Come in, we're open. It was in the middle of a neighborhood, so the actual seating area looked just like a living room. So daytime when I'm not so tired, and the pictures are better. This is the Paducah City Marina. Just lift it up a little bit. We're the only ones there today. Everyone left this morning. And these big poles are so that the docks can rise up when the river rises. And yes, it gets that big. It gets that flooded sometimes. So the actual ramps are in 3 sections. And it's so as the river comes up, each section can go horizontal. So these ones here, these ones up here, so they're rollers. And that's so that this platform can roll up. And apparently they've had water that high before, which is quite stunning. Let's go down. So if the river got this high, everything would be horizontal out to the docks. This is here normally, but the city turned power off down here because there's work being done other places in the city, so there's no fuel available, which this was always the point where people could get fuel after they left Hoppies. There's that 200-mile stretch where normally you can't anyway, but now you can't here. So people are who have smaller holding tanks have had to carry more fuel to get them to perhaps Green Turtle Bay or somewhere else where they can get it. So last night the dock was completely full, and it will be full tonight, I'm assuming, because there's 10 boats at the bottom of Homestead this morning. And there she is. I started doing the teak work on the starboard side, thinking that we could pull up and impress people half the time. And since I've done that, we've only had port ties. So the railing's looking pretty bad. Although these 2 window frames are done. And our boat definitely and definitively needs a good wash, but probably not today. And here we are. We're home. Paducah is home to the National Quilt Museum, and we'd heard a lot about this museum, so we decided to go in and take a look around. Entry fee was $10 or free to veterans of either country, actually. These were really very much works of art. Everything you see here is from fabric. And more coffee. No tea? Sorry?
No tea.
Just try it on.
Bit of a departure from coffee. This is like Earl Grey tea with steamed milk.
What's in the middle?
The tea bag. It's unusual. What do you think? Pretty good, huh? Chorizo stuffed dates. Yum yum. Catfish okay?
Yeah. It's it definitely tastes like fish. It's got a strong taste.
We ended up behind another looper boat, going about the same speed as us, and usually it's the first person in a line of boats that communicates with either the tows or the lockmasters or whatever might be in front of them. In this case, the boat in front of us did all the work this morning.
Okay, we'll picture the 2. Thank you.
So it's a pretty rainy morning. We left Paducah at about 7 a.m. and it wasn't really pouring when we left. We knew it was going to, and it did, and then we kind of lost quite a bit of visibility. There was another pleasure craft ahead of us, and I radioed them because for some reason we couldn't see what one of the tows was. We could see the name, we couldn't get the details on it, so they could. And they're headed to Barkley Lock as well. Some more people behind us have left the dock, the faster people, about now. So it's kind of calmed down a little bit better visibility. We've got the heater running and we're blowing air forward because the windows get very foggy. So we wanted to get some heat on them. We haven't really solved that yet. Anyway, it seems there's virtually no wind today, which is great. I'm not sure how much the rain overnight is affecting current, but it seems to be okay.
What's the question?
The current, not appreciably different.
No, we're making pretty good time against it.
Yeah, so every once in a while I just have to wipe the fog off the windows and Chris has good visibility. And it's supposed to be like this all day, so. But the good news is, well, I don't know if it's good news, but there's two ways we can go. We can go the Tennessee River through the Kentucky Lock to get to Grand Rivers, which is where Green Turtle Bay is. Or we can go up the Ohio and then down the Cumberland through the Barkley Lock, which goes to Grand Rivers and Green Turtle Bay. The Barkley Lock, which is down the Cumberland, is nowhere near as busy, tow traffic-wise, as the Kentucky. So we were on the Army Corps of Engineer lock queue last night, and we could see that on average, Kentucky's twice as busy in terms of number of vessels it puts through in a day. So I called the lockmaster at Barkley, although we won't be there for about 4 hours, and just had a chat with him this morning. And he said the one that's in the queue on the website is actually having mechanical issues, so they're working on that. They're not actually going through. And he had a double, which means he has to do two runs coming up. But we're 4 hours away, so he wanted to know if we were all going to come through together, because that's what he wants. And I said to him, we're slower. We tend to leave before everyone so we can accommodate that, but we can't really control how fast everyone else goes, so we do our best. And so he asked whoever is crossing under I-24 first, hail him on channel 13, which is the tow traffic channel, and then he switches to 12, and then he can give us further instructions there. But after we get through Barkley Lock, I think it's an hour maybe to the marina, and it's going to be this kind of rain all day. So we knew that kind of coming into it, but we didn't really want to stick around in Paducah any longer. And now it's actually a little lighter out, so it's easier. When we left, it was just daylight, and it made that a bit harder, but it's been okay. It's not the worst that we've had.
It's going to get better.
So I'm going to do some more wiping here. And the Ohio River, for sure, is way less busy than the Mississippi. So although we had a couple angsty moments this morning when we couldn't really see anything and we couldn't see what Enterprise, the tow, was doing, because you can tap on stuff in Navionics and it should tell you their speed over ground and all that information, and we just couldn't. I could tap the word Enterprise because the AIS was showing up on Navionics, but it didn't have the usual information, which is why I called Lyra and asked for information from them. So this is, but this boating world is great. Like, we just help each other out, no questions asked. So instead of being the first in this little flotilla for the time being, Lyra is, which is fine with me. They're going about the same speed we are. They probably left early for the same reason. Anyway, so it's probably going to be a longish day, but I feel like it's a bit more relaxed now. And I was outside for quite a bit when it was pouring, so my hair is like drenched. So I've got a lot of really unsightly clips in, but boat hair, who cares? Not me.
So the only thing I would say is AIS is actually working really, really well. I guess this is its purpose. Visibility is...
not fabulous.
It's not fabulous.
We've been in worse.
It's okay. And, yeah.
But we also don't go very fast, so any emergencies happen very slowly with us. And typically we're at least a little bit faster than the barges, so if we had to...
We're a fair bit faster than the barges.
Well, I thought you said just a minute ago you weren't sure that we are.
Well, I thought they said the speed over ground was the same as ours, but it obviously isn't.
Oh.
Yeah, so all of this is the traffic that we just navigated our way through. It was pretty intense. You can see all these boats. And we just passed the last barge. So ahead of us is the, what's the name?
Lyra?
Lyra?
Yeah, I gotta wipe your windows here, so giddy up.
Yeah, and then it looks like it's clear to the Tennessee.
We're not going to the Tennessee, we're going to the Cumberland.
The Cumberland, whichever one we're going to.
Cumberland. Okay, good. Cumberland River, the rain has slowed down a bit. That's Lyra, our de facto leader this morning. Not sure if they knew they were going to be. And it's pretty. There's 2 more boats behind us. So we made it to the lock, and it's a 3 to 4 hour wait, which is just typical of what we've experienced. I think we sailed through a couple locks. The very first one from Joliet, Brandon, I think, and then out of Alton, LaGrange. Is it LaGrange out of Alton? I think. But everything else has really been sit around and wait, either bobbing around, which is exhausting for the driver, for the pilot, or anchoring, which is a lot more enjoyable if you've got a long wait because you can actually decompress. So that's what we're doing. We're anchored in the river along with 3 other boats behind us. We kind of accumulated people this morning, or they accumulated us. They're probably sorry they accumulated us. So in a diversion from our usual coffee, I'm having tea because it's hot and it's too late in the day for coffee. And the rain is just coming down. Fortunately, when we get through this lock, I think it's just maybe another hour, less than an hour through here. I'm hoping it's not quite an hour. We could be entering the lock at 5, and it gets dark around 6:20, so we'll be probably sailing in right at dark if they go right to the 4-hour mark. Guess we'll see. We did arrive at Green Turtle Bay about a half an hour before sunset, which was a relief. But we were oh so tired. We actually had to take 2 passes to get into the dock and tied up. Thanks for watching this week as we reach Green Turtle Bay, which was one of our milestone destinations. Over the next few days, we're taking a side trip to Nashville by car. And when we return, we'll get the boat reprovisioned and ready to head off down the Tennessee River. If you haven't already, please subscribe and leave comments and questions. Thanks for watching. See you next time.